What's going on, guys? I want to talk about guys who act like they would be happy being single for the rest of their life because I see I've seen guys say that even in comment sections, I've seen guys say that they rather just be single for the rest of their life than to settle for a single mother or to settle for a woman that's using them. But I mean, I look at it like this. You got to look at your life. If you a man that's not desired by women, you got to take whatever you can get, you know? If that means settling for a woman that's hit the wall, she's 40, she been ran through, she got 3 kids by some dudes serving time in federal prison, you know, that's what's waiting on you when you're an undesirable man. See, one thing I had to understand is that if you're a man that women don't want, if you're a guy who never was an option, you don't win in a position like this. You get leftover, outdated stuff. You don't, the best analogy I can give, you don't get a computer when it's brand new. You get it when it's been worn out. And it's got a lot of it's got a lot of baggage. That's what some guys have awaiting them. And I hear certain dudes say, well, rather than settling for a woman that's using me for my finances, or rather than settling for a woman that's hit the wall, I'll just be single forever. Any dude that say they okay with being single forever and never having companionship, they playing themselves. No man in his right mind wants to be alone forever. You know, some dudes just gonna have to settle for what they can get. And I hear a lot of dudes talking about going overseas to find a woman. You know, it's no guarantee that you're gonna go overseas and get a wife. I mean, if you're an outcast in America, more than likely you're gonna be an outcast overseas. You know, and I believe a lot of guys are just going overseas to pay for the booty. And it's nothing wrong with that, you know. But I wouldn't get my hopes up high thinking to myself, oh, if you just get a passport and you go overseas, you gonna find a wife. I wouldn't get my hopes up high with that either. But you got some dudes who try to make it seem like you don't need sex or you don't need a companion. Dudes who talk like that, they playing themselves. What you mean you don't need sex? That's what you need as a grown man. So, because I hear certain dudes saying crazy stuff like that. Like, you got some dudes who probably psyching themselves out, thinking in their mind, oh, I don't need sex. I don't need a companion. You're playing yourself. You're playing yourself. Because that's what a man needs. A man needs a woman in his life. And, I think a lot of these dudes who are not wanted by women, they just telling themselves anything to cope. I feel when dudes say stuff like, I'll be okay being single for the rest of my life and never having companionship, they playing themselves. And I feel as a man, if you don't have many options, you got to take whatever you can get, even if that means settling for a woman that got 4 children. You got to settle for what you can get. You know, you got to take what's available to you. And that's the mindset that I have at this point in my life. Like, it is what it is, because I look at it like this. If you a man who don't have no options, why do you have standards? I can understand a man who's desired by women, a dude who's always had his fair share of women. But if you're a man with no options, if you're a man that women are not checking for, what's the point in you having uh, this this select mindset? What's the point of you having all these standards when women don't even desire you in the first place. You just got to take whatever you can get. Uh, and I feel guys who are not desired at all by women, they got to settle for what they can get, whether that means being a stepdaddy, because I already know what's waiting on men who are not wanted by women, being a stepdaddy, or settling for some woman that's old and ran through. I'm 35. You know, if I was to meet a woman that's 40 years old, I'd marry a woman 40, even if she got kids. You know, as a man, you just got to take what you can get. If you a dude that's not desired, a dude that's not chosen, you got to just take whatever's available because you don't have many options. You know, and what's so sad, a lot of guys in these types of positions never had options. You know, but that's how it is for some dudes. Some dudes been written off from day one. You know, some dudes been written off from day one. You know, chicks just never did like them, and you know, it's really hard for brothers because within the urban community, as a brother, one thing that's always irritated me as a brother, especially if you don't fit the stereotype. I feel like as a brother, you have to be exceptional. You know, unless a very attractive brother, you're not getting the attention of sisters. Unless you're a very good looking brother, you know, or unless you a hood ninja. And that's the one thing that's always bothered me about the urban culture. It's like, as a brother, you got to be on that hood stuff, and you have to fit that narrative to really get recognition within the culture. Because as a brother, if you're not stereotypical, if you're not hood, you automatically eliminated. And that is sad, but that's just the way that it is as a brother. And I'm sure I know everybody can relate to that. Especially the brothers can definitely relate to that, because as a brother, if you're not from the projects, if you're not, if you're not, you know, if you're not street, you automatically eliminated. You know, um, Sometimes I feel like I probably would have had options when it come to women if I wasn't a brother. I probably would have had more options because you know I always felt that in the urban community, as a black man, you have to be a certain way, which is sad. But you know, I just know dudes who say that they okay with being single for the rest of their life and never having a companion. They playing themselves. I mean, who want to be single for the rest of their life? You know, because it's dudes who try to make it seem like they're okay with being lonely for the rest of their life or never having a family. Any dude that's pretending like he's okay or happy with this situation, he's playing himself. No dude in his right mind would be happy being in a position like this. But it's this is not an ideal situation. But some dudes try to make it seem like I'll just be single forever, and I'm okay with being single forever. No, you're not okay with being single forever. You're not. And you know, you just got to be real with yourself. But everybody everybody has their own way of coping, and in my opinion, that's just a coping mechanism. That's all that is. That's cope. Everybody got their own way of coping, though. But that's all that is. Dudes who tell themselves, I don't need a woman. I'm okay with being single forever. I don't care about having a wife and children. You just coping. you know. But I guess we all got to find our ways to cope in these bad situations. But as a man, you got to be honest with yourself. No man in his right mind would be happy being in a situation to where he has no options when it comes to women. No man would be happy being in a position to where he's not being chosen at all. And that's what's so sad. Nowadays, you got dudes who are not being selected at all. They're not getting no play from women. What dude in his right mind would be happy being in a position like that, where he's not being selected at all, not getting play from nobody? But that's all I'm gonna say on this for now. You guys have a good day.